The 1954 World Cup was the first to be hosted by a European country after the Second World War. FIFA chose Switzerland, its headquarters, and neutral country as the host country. Uruguay and Italy, both former world champions, would be present at the tournament. The inaugural game of the Cup was between France and Yugoslavia. There were over 16,000 spectators in the Pontias de Luzon stadium. The French selection's slow start in the game was the result of the recent participation in a tournament that left them physically drained. Yugoslavia scored the first goal at the 15th minute of the game with this shot by Milos Milutinovic. Yugoslavia appeared to be in control of the game. The French goalkeeper made a great save to prevent his squad from going down 2-0. However, one goal was enough for Yugoslavia to secure its first win of the tournament. Brazil was in the group with France, Yugoslavia and Mexico, and was fortunate to have had to play against Yugoslavia and Mexico. Brazil did not take long to open up the scoreboard with this play by Baltazar, who left the keeper, Salvador Mota, without a chance to make the save. Didi would convert the second goal from outside the box. Later, Bingo would demonstrate the power of the Brazilian offense as he scored 2 goals in less than 6 minutes to put Brazil ahead 4-0. In the second half, Julio would shine. 15 minutes into the half, he would score after exhibiting a magnificent play in which he beat various defenders to seal the 5-0 victory. In their second game of the first round, France and Mexico would meet each other, both looking for a victory after being defeated in their first games. France started better. Jean Vizet was able to put a shot past the goalie after an attack from the left wing for the only goal of the half. Now in the second half, an attack from the French takes shape and the shot results in an own goal by the Mexican Cardenas, who gave the French a 2-0 lead. Later, 9 minutes into the second half, Naranjo would be successful in converting a goal, giving the Mexican team hope for the draw or a victory. With 5 minutes left in the game, Balacasar scored the equalizer for Mexico. With only 1 minute left in the game, the Spanish referee, Manuel Asensi, charged a Mexican defender with a handball in the area. The team's pleas did not change his mind. The penalty kick was converted by Copa, his shot entering the goal in the upper left-hand corner. With this goal, France obtained its victory. Hungary came into the tournament with much fame and with high expectations. They counted with star players such as Puskas and Koksis. Germany, however, did not play its starters, as they would be used against South Korea or Turkey to classify for the next phase. Hungary was ahead 3-0 after only 20 minutes. Koksis scored 2 goals and Puskas the other. Koksis would end up with 4 goals in this high-scoring game, which ended in an 8-3 victory for Hungary. With this victory, Hungary sealed its path to the next round since they had already beaten South Korea 9-0. However, amidst the celebration, the team would move on, but without Puskas, who twisted his left ankle that left him out of the tournament. With Hungary's victory over Germany, the winner between Turkey and South Korea would play to move on to the next round against Germany. The Koreans had shown their inexperience as they lost to Hungary 9-0. The Turks began scoring early, finally beating the Koreans 7-0. Even the press at the game did not pay much attention to the match. In fact, some even took the opportunity to nap. The forward Sergei Burham scored 3 goals in this game. Germany and Turkey met for the second time in the tournament. This time, however, the game would be a tiebreaker that would determine who will move on to the next round. The suspense did not last long. 5 minutes into the game, Franz Schaefer attacked from the left and sent the cross in that found Walter, who beat the goalie in front of the goal. 4 minutes later, Schaefer himself scored Germany's second goal. Mustafa gave some hope to the Turks as he scored with this header. But the hope did not last long. Germany began to score repeatedly immediately after. At the end of the game, the score was Germany 7, Turkey 2. Germany, along with Hungary, moved on to the quarterfinals. Group 3 was not evenly matched. Scotland was in this first World Cup and confronted Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Uruguay, 2-time World Cup champions. Austria beat Scotland and Czechoslovakia by a resounding 5-0 result, securing its pass to the next round. All Uruguay needed was a draw against Scotland, which appeared to be easily obtained. In the end, however, Uruguay prevailed by a score of 7-0. Borges scored 3 goals. Uruguay had not suffered a loss in any World Cups. Group 4 had the host team, Switzerland, England, Italy, and Belgium. England first faced Belgium, who surprised the English with this goal by Anul after only 5 minutes into the game. "20 minutes later, the equalizer was converted by Broadus. Broadus himself helped his team take the lead. Lofthouse increased the lead after scoring with this beautiful header. In the second half, Belgium tied the game 3-3. With the end of regulation time, additional time would determine who would win. A minute into it, England scored their 4th goal. However, a minute after that, Belgium again scored the equalizer. Extra time ended with a tie game, England 4, Belgium 4. Italy and Switzerland played a dramatic game. Whichever team won would move on to the next round. In the first half, the attack came from the host team. Italy appeared to be flat and unable to respond. Uji, Switzerland's top goal scorer, converted the first goal of the game after taking a powerful shot that found the back of the net. Just after the start of the second half, Ballermann finds the ball after its cross to score the second goal for the home team. Italy would bounce back as the legendary Nesti scored its team's first goal. In the final minutes, the game became intense. Switzerland would have more chances, first by Uji, who beat the goalkeeper Viola. Later in this play, Faton shoots on a wide open goal to give Switzerland the 4-1 victory. The fans celebrated their team's victory as they rushed onto the field. England, the creators of soccer, faced the two-time world champions, Uruguay. Stan Matthews had put together an impressive English team to win this cup. The pride of England's soccer was at play. Uruguay, however, quickly put itself ahead on the scoreboard with Borges' goal, his fourth of the cup. England fought hard, and Lofthouse was able to score the equalizer. England almost went on top, but Uruguay's keeper, Gaston Maspoli, the same from the 1950 championship team, saved the shot, preventing England's go-ahead goal. But the hero from the Maracanazo, Obdulio Varela, scored Uruguay's second goal. In the second half, Schiaffino increased Uruguay's lead 3-1. England, however, did not stop fighting and was able to get one back after Finney Thomas scored. The game was not over. Both teams were playing with much determination. Sometimes it appeared with too much. Back then, hard tackles did not result in red cards. In fact, calling fouls was still a new concept to the game. Finally, Uruguay, thanks to Ambroise, scored its fourth goal and secured its classification to the semi-final game. The days preceding the match between Switzerland and Austria, the host team showed an unorthodox training method, which included jump rope and archery, the national sport in those days. 37,000 people filled the stands at the Pontage de Luzon Stadium to see these two teams battle for the right to play in the semifinals. The home team started strong. Their first goal was scored by Balman. Minutes later, Wedgie would score two more. The fans were pleasantly surprised to see their team start so well. But what would come later was an even bigger surprise. Austria came to life and scored nothing less than 5 goals in 10 minutes. First, it had been Querner, then Wagner, and then the most spectacular goal was scored by Oxwig, which tied the game at 3-3. The game had practically just started, and already it was one of the most dramatic so far in World Cup history. Another goal by Wagner gave Austria the lead for the first time in the game. The first half ended with Austria scoring 4 unanswered goals, and that's even after they missed a penalty kick. In the second half, the superiority of the Austrian selection proved to be the difference. Schmid, the top goal scorer for Austria, suffered from heat exhaustion and collapsed on the field. Wagner scored the 5th for Austria. Wedgie scored Switzerland's 4th goal, giving hope to the host country. But Austria would score 2 more, sealing a 7-5 victory over the home team. This ended up being the game with the most goals scored in a World Cup match. In Geneva, 20,000 people were present to see the match between Germany and Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was the favorite. Germany surprised the spectators when Ivan Horvath scored the first goal. The talented Yugoslavian selection fought hard to score and tie the game, but could not beat the old German defense. The underdog German selection scored its second goal thanks to Ron. Germany would play in the semifinals. Uruguay was the only remaining selection from Latin America and faced a strong Hungary team, despite missing their star player Puskás due to injury. The European team scored first with this goal by Sabor. At the start of the second half, Hidegard scored Hungary's second goal. But Uruguay did not concede defeat. Holberg, who eventually became Uruguay's coach for the 1970 World Cup, scored his team's first goal. 11 minutes later, Holberg scores again. The game was now tied 2-2. Extra time would have to be played after 90 minutes showed a tied game. It was during the additional periods that Hungary's training paid off. Coxey, the top goal scorer, would score with a header, his specialty. He would finish the cup with 11 goals scored. In the end, Hungary defeated the exhausted Uruguayan team 4-2 and moved on to the final. West Germany and Austria faced each other in the second semi-final match. The majority of the 60,000 fans at the St. Jakob Stadium were rooting for a German victory. Hans Schäfer scored the first goal for Germany. Germany, which was essentially destroyed as a result of World War II, was elated to simply participate in the World Cup. In the second half, Morlock would head the ball into the goal. Seconds later, Prague scored Austria's first goal. While the equalizer was much anticipated, what came next was an avalanche of German goals. Walter scored from the penalty spot. Then another header by Morlock. Walter, a minute later, converts another penalty kick. The sixth would be scored by Walter's header. Germany moved to play in the finals after a convincing victory of 6-1 over Austria. Austria and Uruguay reached the third place game a bit tired from the previous match. Although the match was not what was hoped for, the 32,000 fans who showed up at the Zurich Stadium was an excellent sign of the growth of the game. Austria went on top of the 15th minute of the game after Stoschmitzball scored on a penalty kick. Uruguay scored the equalizer with this shot by Holberg. Then this goal gave Austria the 2-1 lead. Austria would secure its victory after scoring their third goal thanks to Ockwork. Austria was the third place winner. Hungary had 3 days to recuperate from the extra time against Uruguay and prepare for the match against Germany. Coxes and his teammates calmly passed the ball around. Puskas had also recuperated 100% from his injury from the first round, as did the defender Bozic. Meanwhile, Germany appears to be relaxed. They knew they were the underdogs again, and the pressure to win would be on